Hi, this is Brett Ingram, entrepreneur and award-winning product creator, and today I want to share with you 6 fast and simple ways to feel inspired. You know those days when you wake up and you feel great and really inspired? You may not even know why. You just sort of jump out of bed and you feel great. I mean, obviously, when we're kids, Christmas morning, if you celebrate that, or maybe the morning you're going on vacation, or the first morning of summer break if you're in school, any of those kinds of days, you wake up, you jump out of bed, you certainly don't need an alarm clock, and you're just excited to be alive because of all the possibilities and the fun and what's in front and in store for you. When we get to become adults, unfortunately, some of that childlike innocence gets squeezed out of us just by the hard knocks of life. And so not every day is exactly the same. I'd love to jump out of bed with that same feeling every single day, but quite frankly, it doesn't always happen that way. So on those days, you just feel like you can conquer the world. And that's an awesome way to start the day. I mean, that much we can certainly say, right? Like if you could start every single day that way and just felt unstoppable and felt motivated and inspired every single day right from waking up, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, for most of us, most days aren't like that. Instead, many days we might wake up and we have stress and we have worry, whether it's the economy or finances or our family or our health. And, everywhere you look, you see negative stories about this, that, and the other thing. And it's very easy for that kind of stuff to drag you down. There's no doubt about that. And so, we're thinking about all the stuff that we have to do. Because the other thing is, we've gotten to a point now where we're so busy in our daily lives that there's always an overwhelming amount of things that need to be done. So we're doing that instead of being able to do the stuff that we want to do. So there's all that kind of stress and maybe some negativity. Well, the good news is there are things that we can do to start each day, or really any time that we want to get re-energized or re-inspired, that will absolutely work. And so while it might not recapture our childlike innocence and pure excitement to be alive, it can come pretty darn close, and it can certainly make us feel great and get us off to the start that we want, or get us refocused in the way that we want. Again, it doesn't have to be in the morning. It's just a great way to start the day, but also later in the day, if you're sagging or something bad happens, you're not feeling great. These are all things that we can do. And because our mood and how we feel affects how well we work, how well we think, and how we interact with everybody else, it's actually super useful to be able to tap into that. So it goes just beyond simply feeling good for a while, although, that doesn't hurt either. But, this isn't just about, hey, I'm not feeling so great, so if I do this, I'll feel better. Well, sure, that's true. But there are a lot more benefits. Every person that we're going to interact with, we're going to have a more positive interaction. They're going to feel better about us. We're going to feel better about them. We're going to get better results and more cooperation. All those things kind of go hand in hand. In addition to that, when we're problem solving or we're thinking about things in our own head, we're going to be more clear, we're going to be more focused. When we're in a state of stress, our mind doesn't function the same way. It's not as good, it's not as creative. And also our actions. We're going to be more, enthusiastic with what we're doing. We're going to have more conviction, and we're going to be able to do things better and more effectively. So here are some fast and easy ways that only take minutes to really get inspired whenever you want it or whenever you need it, so you can feel great and perform at your best anytime that you want. And these are things that, from my own personal life, I do myself because I, love what I do. And, but I always feel as though the better mood that I can be in and the more motivated and inspired I can feel, it doesn't matter. Like, it's better. Those days are always better. They're more enjoyable. They're more fulfilling. You go to bed at the end of the day feeling great because the day, you kick butt that day and all that kind of stuff. And so these are some tools and tricks that I use myself, and I want to share them with you because I think they really help. And, part of it for me too was to make sure that I could find things that were really simple. I'm not going to go through a 35, 40-minute routine to try to get myself in the right mindset in the morning. I can't do it. None of us have time to do that kind of thing. So these are quick These are easy, they're fast, and then obviously they're free, which is great. So the first thing that we can do is we can read inspirational quotes. Everybody loves quotes, right? I mean, everybody loves them. Some of them are thought-provoking, some of them are funny, some of them are cute, but there are a lot of quotes out there, not just the ones that are posted on social media, that are actually super inspirational. And if you just take 5 minutes and read through some, or you make a list of ones that are your favorites and you go back to it. You know, I'm a big believer, if you find things that resonate with you, track them. You know what I mean? Bookmark them, whatever. Make a list of them so that way you can go back to them anytime that you want. And so you can create sort of your own virtual quotes playlist, if you will. And basically, places you can find it, you can just do a search for quotes. I wouldn't recommend going on social media for it because you're going to find a bunch of negative stuff too, which is going to make you feel ugh. So instead, what you do is you could just do a search for inspirational quotes. There's a gazillion results. If you're really in a pinch, just go to brainyquote.com. So they have a list of quotes by category. And you know, one of the ones that I actually just found today when I was preparing this podcast that I love, and I hadn't even heard of it before. It's, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. I mean, how powerful is that? Gives me goosebumps just to say it. That was Muhammad Ali, the famous, world famous, legendary boxer. And, here's a guy that had such a fantastic career and was such a force in the boxing ring. And I'm not even a fan of boxing, but I respect and admire what he was able to do. Also, all of the civil rights stuff that he did. But the point of it is that, here's a guy that you would have thought, he hates training. I mean, this is a guy who's a world champion. How can you hate training and be a world champion? Most of these guys eat training for breakfast. They can't wait. But no, he didn't like it, but he still did it because he understood that if he paid the price and put in the time and the effort, that he would live his life as a champion. And that is forever. That is an indelible mark. And that's the reason everybody knows his name. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. And so, that is a great inspirational story. And it makes me want to get to work. It makes me want to say, whatever issues I think I have in my business or my life, and whatever stuff I got to overcome, I want to go do it. Come on. I mean, if he can do that, then, that inspires me to get moving too. So you can find whatever quotes resonate with you, but there's a bunch of them right on there or anywhere else. Another thing that you could do is listen to your favorite inspirational music. Now, there's not a particular playlist here because there isn't a one-size-fits-all for inspirational music. What you love and what might inspire you might be totally different from me. I know some people are very into classical music. So classical music for them just unlocks their creativity. They feel great. They're motivated. For me, it depends. I mean, sometimes I like it, but it can also make me feel a little bit sleepy. Sometimes I just want some rock, some good old-fashioned rock, with a beat to it, or like the jock jam stuff that they play at like the football stadium or whatever. I don't have a one-size-fits-all answer for myself. I will tell you that I have playlists. I have a playlist for work that I play that's relatively relaxing, but it's also has some songs in there with a little bit of pep because I don't want it to put me to sleep. I just want it to be in a situation where I can focus on what I'm doing. But I have a completely different mix for my workouts. When I go to the gym, I've got, rock, I've got, rap, I've got whatever other kind of music on there. And I'm not specific to a genre or even an artist. But for me, it's about a particular song. When I hear a song, if it has that emotional effect on me, if it pumps me up, if it gets me, if it gives me goosebumps, if it gets me ready to go work out, then I know that that's the right thing. And for inspiration, it's the same thing. There are songs out there that when I hear, they just make my chest rise. They make me feel, like powerful and like I want to get moving and get inspired. So whatever those music tracks are for you, make a playlist. And anytime you need it, just go back and run that playlist. It's really, really simple and it's really powerful. I mean, the connection between mood and emotions and human performance and music is long-standing. Everybody knows that music unlocks a lot of that in us. It's why we love music so much as a culture and as a species. Another thing is to read an inspirational short story. And I say short story because there are a lot of inspirational stories, but I don't know about you. I've seen the Reader's Digest stories. My parents used to subscribe to it. My mother had cases and cases of these Reader's Digests in the basement. And if you don't even know what that is, it's an old magazine that they used to publish, and it had like these stories and articles and stuff like that. And you would subscribe to it. So she had these all in the basement. And I would ask her, like, why do we have all these boxes of Reader's Digest? Well, I might want to read them someday. I mean, she was never going to read them because there was never enough time. You weren't even reading the current ones that were coming in. And you had boxes and boxes of these things in the basement. It was hilarious. But the point is, I remember thumbing through some of those as a kid. And I remember some of the stories were really short and really inspirational. So that's great, but that's old school, like, flip the pages. Now you can just go online, do a quick search. You can find inspirational short stories, and there's a ton of them. And again, they're ones when you see the power of the human spirit and the human capability to do things, it's impossible not to feel inspired and motivated. I know for me, and I would have put movies on this list because I'm a movie buff. I love movies, but they're just too long to use to tap into inspiration, right? I mean, we can't sit there and watch a 90-minute movie and then go to work. It would be great, but it just doesn't work that way. But if you're looking for a couple of movie references or recommendations, if you haven't seen it, Rudy is an awesome story. I think it's a little fictionalized from what I've heard, but it's an amazing, amazing story. And yeah, it's sports, but not really. And Miracle, the story of the 1980 U.S. Olympic team is absolutely, miracle is the exact word for it. It's incredible. But at any rate, I digress. I'm not going to talk about movies today, I promise. So a short story of one of mine that's my favorite is about a man who in the 1940s, he was 65 years old. And he was basically living off his $99 Social Security check. He had a small house and a beat up old car. And he said, I want a better life than this. He wasn't thinking about retirement or what he was going to do to sail off into old age. He was thinking about how to create a better life, which, by the way, in and of itself, he's 65 years old. And this guy is like, boom, I'm going to make this happen. I love that. But way beyond that, what he ended up doing is trying to take inventory of the stuff that he had. And he's like, what can I do? What do I have? What skill or product or service can I offer that I could change my life and change the fortunes of my family here? And he said, well, the only thing I really have is this chicken recipe. My family loves it. My friends love it. So you know what? I'm gonna set out and try to get people to take this recipe and make chicken and get paid for that. And so he got in his beat up car and he started to drive around the country. And he went from store after store after store. And at first he was trying to sell the recipe thinking that he would make money. And when nobody was interested, he said, you know what? I will give it to you for free. All I want is a percentage of the profit. That's it. And he still got no after no after no. He was driving around in his car for months. He went to 1,009 different restaurants and vendors. They all said no. How many people would have given up after 10? 100? 1,000? 15? It's absolutely ridiculous. He went to the 1,010 said yes, and KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, was born, Colonel Sanders. It's an amazing, miraculous story about a guy that didn't have any advantages. He didn't have any connections. He didn't have any skills or assets really, except a simple chicken recipe. That's it. But he had the belief, he had the motivation, and he had the conviction to say, I'm going to make this work and I'm going to make a better life for me and my family. And he did it. He absolutely did it because you only need that one home run. That one home run makes the rest of your life. And that's exactly what he did. So again, for me, that story is super inspirational. For you, it may be something else. But you can certainly look up short stories and you can find a gazillion of them that are inspirational and awesome in nature. I mean, it's impossible not to get excited about it. Another thing that we can do is we can say, and when we say, we also have to feel affirmations, right? So affirmations, depending on your frame of reference, some people think, it's kind of cheesy. Other people swear by them. Whatever school you're in, whatever walk of life or background you come from, what I can tell you is regardless of how you feel about them, they absolutely work. They absolutely work in terms of changing your entire mindset and changing your entire mentality. In fact, it's a funny story, and it's just serendipitous. It's closely linked to affirmations, while it's not exactly one. So it's about, connected to the power of manifestation, right? So with affirmations, we're basically like telling ourselves things that are really positive to make ourselves feel better. But essentially, we're sort of manifesting something better. Well, I was listening to, saw a short video with the famous actor Jim Carrey the other day. And he was talking about, he was speaking at some commencement, and it might be years old. I don't even know how old it is. I just saw the clip. So it might be really old, but at any rate, he was speaking at a commencement. Here's a guy who's a famous comedian, famous actor, world at his feet type of thing. And he said that at a young age, I think he went to like a Catholic school or something, and he had nuns. And one of the, I think it was one of the nuns who said to him, anytime that I want something in my life, I just think about what it is that I want and I focus on that. And I don't worry about how it's going to happen, because I know, source energy or God or whatever, whatever you want to call it, right? Source energy, the universe will bring it to me if I believe in it and I ask for it. And Jim Carrey at the time tells this story. He was I think he was 12 years old, and he wanted a bike. He wanted a cool new bike. His family couldn't afford it. So he knew he was never going to get a bike from them. And I don't know the time frame, but shortly thereafter, he actually won a bike in a raffle. And he said, and it was like a deluxe bike with a banana seat and all the stuff that he wanted. And the funny thing about it is he didn't enter any raffle. It turns out he had thought about this bike that he wanted over and over. Someone he knew entered him in a raffle because they were one of the kids that he knew that would want a bike. And he won the bike. Now, are we all going to get entered in raffles and win everything that we want? No, of course not. But the point is, it isn't going to hurt, and it can only help. So if we have affirmations and we have positive manifestation thoughts, the only result that can come from that is positive, right? So 2 simple affirmations is something great is going to happen to me today. Something great is real simple, right? But when you say it, and you say it with feeling, something great is going to happen to me today, and you really feel it when you say it, that's what makes the difference, because that triggers the emotional response in your body, and it connects your mind and body and everything else together. So it's not just something great's going to happen to me today. Like, that isn't going to work. But you could even look in the mirror if you want. It's even more powerful. Listen to your own voice say it out loud over and over and over again, and get yourself really jazzed up by it. Another one really closely connected to it is, I'm going to make something great happen today. Either of those are super powerful. They're super simple. You can look up a bunch of these online, and again, find the ones that resonate with you. Make a short list, make a cheat sheet of them, or your favorite hits, and then go ahead and use that whenever you need a quick pick-me-up. And again, it takes 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Say it, feel it. The more you say it over and over and over again, the more you'll feel it, the more visceral it'll become, and that makes it more powerful. At first, you may even laugh a little bit. Your body and mind might be like, hey, what are you doing? But when you keep doing it, you'll get used to it. Your body will get used to it. You'll expect that, and you'll just start to feel that way all the time. Another thing we could do is replay your highlight reel. So who doesn't love a highlight reel, right? We're watching sports, and boom, we see the long one-handed touchdown, and we see the dunk over the big man in the middle, or whatever it is, right? Whatever your highlight reel is, it doesn't have to be physical or in sports. If you have a physical highlight reel from your glory days, whether that was yesterday or 25 years ago, pull it out, go for it. Look through your yearbook, whatever it is. But whatever it is, at times in your life, when you felt like a rock star, when you felt like you crushed it. Maybe it was a great presentation that you gave, or a group that you led, or some organization that you were part of, whatever it is, where you got praise, where you felt powerful and great. Those are the things that you want to think about and make yourself a highlight reel. And it can be virtual, it can be in your mind. I don't have documented evidence of stuff that I did when I was younger because all the digital stuff didn't exist. So if somebody wasn't there snapping a photo or recording with like a giant refrigerator on their shoulder as a video recorder, there wasn't any way to record it. So I don't have that, but I have it in my mind. And so you have it in your mind, and that's where you go. You think about it, and you think about all the stuff you've done where you really rocked the house. And get back into those moments. Don't just think about it intellectually. Feel it. Get back in that moment, and you will feel your whole body rises up, and you start to feel awesome. The other thing you can do is pretend you just won. Won what? Won anything. It doesn't matter. You can pretend you're a superhero. I'm Superman. You know what I mean? Victory. We just won. Fist pump. Yeah, yeah. Whatever it is that gets you fired up, whatever it is that makes you feel powerful. I mean, just doing that makes my body, changes my physiology, changes my whole mood into one of superpower. So whatever it is for you, sports stars make certain, gestures for a reason because it makes them feel great. They stand with their hands on their hips and jut their chest out. They raise their arms over their head. They pump their fist. Whatever it is, right? And whatever it is for you, those same physiological things will have the same impact on you. So find the ones that work for you and use them again and again. The flex, all those kinds of things are awesome. You can use any or all of these anytime you want to recapture that motivated, inspired feeling and anything else that works for you. Maybe you have a specific thing or a story or a person that you know that makes you feel inspired. Go for it. Really get into the moment and actually feel, and you'll be amazed at what impact that it has. So the takeaway is, as part of being human, we all have natural ups and downs, and our feelings and motivation levels vary. It just is what it is. That's just part of the deal. But we can use some simple hacks to get us back in a superpower mindset and feeling inspired so we can perform at our best.